You famously said that the Republican Party has a problem at the box office. I heard you equate the GOP with the Titanic. Explain.
The reason why I said it was because their policies were such that they were not really including everybody. And we were losing them because we were not addressing those issues. So I was telling them, I said, look, the way you're going, by being so anti, healthcare reform and being so anti-environment and stuff like this, we are losing and we are dying at the box office.
Trump's latest meltdown isn't over some fancy political opponent. Nope, it's because of Arnold Schwarzenegger. You heard that right, folks. The action star just drop-kicked Trump's ego into next week. Schwarzenegger called Trump as irrelevant as an old tweet. And boy, did that ruffle some orange feathers. Want to know what made Trump lose his cool faster than you can say, "I'll be back"? Keep watching for all the juicy details. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. The Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger, made the decision to enter politics and give Trump a taste of his own medicine. His punch left the former president reeling like a cartoon character who just collided with a wall, and boy, did he deliver it.
As an immigrant to this country, I would like to say a few words to my fellow Americans. President Trump sought to overturn the results of an election, and of a fair election. President Trump is a failed leader. He will go down in history as the worst president ever. The good thing is that he soon will be as irrelevant as an old tweet. Very aware of Kristallnacht, or the Night of Broken Glass. It was a night of rampage against the Jews carried out in 1938 by the Nazi equivalent of the Proud Boys.
Imagine this. Arnold delivers some devastating truth bombs about Trump's leadership abilities while maintaining his thick accent and protruding muscles. Or perhaps more accurately, its absence. Watching a bodybuilding competition where one competitor has, "Oh, never worked out," is like that. Trump's supporters must have been scratching their heads more than a flea-infested monkey. How could a man who had fought a predator teach their hero, the purported master of deals and winning? It turns out, people, that Arnold has more than just biceps. He also possesses significant political firepower. However, Arnie's criticism of Trump was not the only thing he did. He went all history teacher mode. Oh no, he likened the chaos of January 6th to some rather gloomy historical events.
They hired a big movie star, Arnold Schwarzenegger, to take my place. And we know how that turned out. The ratings went right down the tubes. It's been a total disaster.
Arnold, I have a great idea. Why don't we switch jobs? You take over TV because you're such an expert in ratings, and I take over your job. And then people can finally sleep comfortably again.
So being from Europe, I have seen firsthand how things can spin out of control. I know there is a fear in this country and all over the world that something like this could happen right here.
Hey Trump, your chapter's right here between things that went horribly wrong and oops, we did it again. He seemed to be saying this as if he had opened a dusty old textbook. Our muscular hero continued to show off his political prowess. Trump's influence, he said, was melting away faster than the T-1000 in a vat of molten steel. Oh, that must be more painful than being trapped between the Terminator's forearm and bicep. It's likely that Trump is furious enough to fry an egg on his forehead. That thing he uses as a safety blanket every night must be making his face turn as orange as... The shocking thing is that Arnold used some good old-fashioned facts and logic to get right to the point rather than merely criticizing. He brought a bazooka to a thumb war, as it were. He emphasized how the nation was being harmed by Trump's lies and conspiracy theories, and that true leaders ought to work to unite people rather than divide them. You know what's truly crazy? People did pay attention to Arnold. It turns out that people pay attention when you have basketball-sized biceps and a political resume that includes serving as the governor of the largest state in the union.
The only thing is that we don't have to go under completely. We don't have to wait for that moment. Let's change and let's go and be more open and go back to this kind of like a big tent idea of Ronald Reagan. And I think this is why we have helped it to some extent here in California with getting rid of gerrymandering and to do redistricting reform and to have open primaries.
Independents are about to overtake Republicans in California. What can California do differently?
I think independents are going to take over The Republicans are going to take over the Democrats also.
Who would have imagined that the man who once declared, "I'll be back," would return to American politics as a sane voice? Now people, get your popcorn ready because this is going to be the most lackluster return since Trump's last attempt at relevance. After losing his Twitter following, our orange friend was forced to use his own depressingly small social media site. Seeing a toddler attempt to shout from the bottom of a ball pit is like that. So what jaw-dropping ideas did Trump think of? What brilliant rebuttals did he write? This is the verbal equivalent of a wet noodle, so get ready. In all his wisdom, Trump referred to Arnold as a failed governor and claimed that his films were really sucked. Whoa, Donnie, did you work on those through the night? He probably high-fiving himself in the mirror, thinking he was being really smart. But there's still more. Trump attempted to change the course of events because he is an expert at "I know you are, but what am I" politics. He asserted that Arnold was the irrelevant one, stating that nothing says I'm still important like desperately trying to convince people you're still important.
What do you think about Donald Trump running for president again?
You know, I think that's the past. And I think that we have to march into the future. And I think there are very talented people in this country on the Republican side that can run. So I will go, look in the future rather than in a rear mirror.
Trump's spray tan isn't as ironic as this. It's similar to witnessing a balding man mock someone else's hair. Naturally, our favorite orange turd couldn't resist boasting about his polling results. People, he's ahead in every poll, similar to how he's at the top of the most likely to be confused by an umbrella list. It has been reported that his approval rating is lower than the odds of winning the lottery while struck by lightning. But hey, who needs facts when you have delusions? What's the icing on the cake for this depressing Sunday? Trump called the riot on January 6th a love fest. Yes, since nothing says love like threatening elected officials and smashing windows. Calling a dumpster fire a cozy campfire is akin to that. People, let's be honest. Trump's comebacks were about as satisfying as a diet soda and as weak as the coffee at the gas station. He seems to be attempting to use pool noodles to battle Arnold. The Terminator's words hit Trump harder than a Schwarzenegger punch, and all Trump could do was flail around like a deflated balloon.
His trip this year to Auschwitz, which was the first time he'd been there. Remember, his father was a Nazi. And he talked about anti-Semitism. We talked about a feud he had in the 90s with Sylvester Stallone. There's a lot there.
Feels like it's close enough to Friday already.
Yeah,
after the week
who knows what day it is.
I know.
Yeah.
All right.
Just working. There's our promo coming up Friday night at 10:30. Hope people can watch.
Absolutely. All right.
And so all of that is coming up tomorrow night on The Issue Is at 10:30, or Friday night at 10:30 on The Issue Is.
Well, folks, it looks like the Terminator just terminated Trump's ego with the precision of a laser-guided missile. Who would have thought that an action star could outshine a reality TV host in the political arena? But here we are, watching Arnie flex his political muscles while Trump's left holding his tiny hands. Schwarzenegger's words seem to be hitting home with folks who are sick and tired of all the political mudslinging. He seems to have reached for the old well of can't we all just get along? Maybe people are finally ready to say hasta la vista, baby, to all the divisive nonsense. So next time you hear Trump bragging about, well, anything really, just remember, in the battle of biceps and brains, Arnold just curled Trump's entire presidency and tossed it in the political dumpster. Looks like the Governator might just be the unexpected hero we needed in these crazy times. Who's laughing now, Donnie?